Welcome back. In your Money Watch tonight, it is almost tax time, and it can be hard to know what forms to fill out and how to fill them out the right way and make sure you're handing them in when you need to. So here to help us navigate the crazy world of taxes is Dan Casey, an investment advisor and representative from Bridgewater Advisors. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So a lot of times people get a little nervous when it comes to filing their taxes. It's that time. What are some of the things that they need to be mindful of?
So I guess the number one thing would be don't document your income. Make sure you're very accurate on that. And what I see a lot too is people trying to file their taxes like too soon, and then they'll get some of the 1099s or some documents after that, and then they have to file again, and it makes for a cumbersome tax return. So just give it time. Make sure you have all the documents that you need. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Make sure you double check your figures, and you should be good.
I know another thing to keep top of mind is changes that are sometimes implemented for that specific year. Any changes that people need to know about now?
So really it's just the difference in the things that change often every year are the contribution limits and the contribution amounts and things like that. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping your eye on that, making sure you're not over contributing and you're going to have to take that back and things like that. So that's really one of the benefits of using the tax software. Is they've got it all in there, so it makes it much easier.
What are some of the important documents that people need to make sure that they have with them?
So your previous tax returns is the big one. Bank statements, again, all your 1099s, and investment account statements and things like that can also help you.
Okay. And when you're not paying close attention like you should, or going to a trusted professional, that can lead to some troubles for you, right?
Yes, for sure. So the rule of thumb kind of is you really can get away with the Tax Pro software if you've got a simple, easy return. But if you've got a side gig and you're getting 1099 income or some rental properties or anything, it's really best, in my opinion anyways, to deal with someone face-to-face, like a CPA or an accountant.
Okay. And Ahmed is here with us. You've got a question
from the peanut gallery. Yeah, from the peanut gallery. All right, so and it's kind of that personal question. Honestly, it was something that came up in my mind was, if you have all of your stuff very, very early, so you mentioned obviously don't file too early.
Yes.
But if you have everything and it's the beginning of the season, is it still too early to file, or are you okay if you think you've got all of it?
So you can't even file until I think it's January 29th. Mm-hmm. They open it up. So yeah, so there's really nothing wrong with it. As long as you're 100% sure you've got all your documents and you're good to go, there's no issue there. Back to the auditing thing, if you wanted to. So yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a rumor, sale, whatever you want to say. I think the one thing I remember reading about that was that it was just not true.
Gotcha.
So cool.
All right. I'll back to the peanut gallery.
I know in recent years, some of those services, those online services, have become very popular.
Yes.
A lot of times people feel like, I can do this myself. But again, sometimes there are issues that you need to go to someone who is a professional in the field.
Yes, and they're going to catch stuff that maybe the software's not. Certain deductions that you could do, or maybe someone who's writing off all these meals, and it turns out that they think it's for business when you didn't discuss any business, and you could get audited for that. So you really want to make sure if it's even the slightest bit complicated to deal with someone face to face.
Okay, you mentioned people who have side gigs sometimes. What are some of the other common mistakes that people make each year when they are filing their taxes?
Common mistakes. So probably actually not counting enough deductions that they should. I think people sometimes go to the side of they don't want to get audited, so they're extra careful when there are a fair amount of number of things that are really standard and that really you should take advantage of if you can. So knowing your proper deductions and taking full advantage of them is a great idea.
Okay, and we've got the early birds here who can file at the end of January. What about those procrastinators? What do they need to keep in mind?
You guys always show on the news too the people in line at the at the post office box on the deadline. So. Just making sure you give it yourself enough time. You don't ever want to rush one of those returns, because it's a nightmare to have to refile and to change things, and so you want to make sure you're doing it right. So don't procrastinate too much.
All right. So just walk us through the process for you all. If people come to you and they need that help, what is that like for you guys?
So it's collecting the proper documents. Making sure we get the full picture of what's going on in their life. We have to make sure that we're asking the right questions to make sure that we know exactly what's going on. Again, it's back to those things that a lot of people assume, like if they have an office in home, being able to write off the full the room, prorated from your mortgage and utilities and things like that. It's a lot more complicated than that. So really, it's just for our job is to make sure we completely understand the situation of the client.
Yeah, and we know you guys are the professionals, but does it also help for people to just have a little background knowledge themselves, do a little research even before they head in?
It doesn't hurt. I always find that people who have done it themselves, like using the software, maybe they end up ditching it at some point, but you learn a lot by going through and walking through and being forced to do it yourself. So, yeah, if you can get through it, try it.
All right, well, this is it. Tax season is here. Dan is here. Also, before we let you go, how can people contact you guys if they want to get some professional help from you?
BridgeRiverLLC.com.
All right, everything you need right there. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks.
We appreciate
Yes,
it.
for sure.
Happy tax filing.